for the HGC, it always seemed like they would be down in their games and then able to bring it back. And I think that is so inspiring for a new team that hasn't really been playing too much together.
I agree. A counter argument maybe to that would be maybe also enforcing poor decision-making at the early parts of the game, but it definitely doesn't break the spirit nearly as difficult like when you're losing a game and then suddenly you're like, well, guys, we came back. And then you do that over and over multiple times. The question I'm really kind of posing for this next one is if we see Freedom get that lead again, do they manage to keep hold of it? Because that last one, it was just a sliver away from giving it up to Superstars, and I hope to see them just grab control and never let go.
Yeah, and it's on Battlefield of Eternity too, so there's going to be a lot of team fighting. You think they're going to continue to focus on Ragnaros the way they have been?
I think so. Just we saw it on Sky, and the fact that you see it in Sky, again, he's good on pretty much any map, but I do think he has specific strengths on some. If you see it on Sky, then I do think we'll see the rise of him even on Battlefield.
Well, our draft is ready. We're going to be going into Battlefield of Eternity. We'll see if Ragnaros makes an appearance. Maybe if we have another Artanis. It's a great battleground for him, too.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Artanis.
And what else could we maybe expect here? A Greymane? We haven't seen too many Greymanes.
Yes, a Greymane would be pretty neat here.
At least today we haven't. There was a lot yesterday, though.
We might see a Task Tracer come out as well from either side here. Greymane gets banned out right at the gates here. So if I'm Freedom, I'd be looking to ban the Artanis. I would not leave it up to question. Even though I did manage to beat Superstars with the Artanis, Artanis on Tomb of the Spider Queen is nothing compared to Artanis on Battlefield of Eternity. Amateur opponent is absolutely terrifying. Suppression Pulse as well. There's a lot of useful tools when it comes to the race on those Immortals.
Right, the amateur opponent, letting him do bonus damage with Twin Blades attacks to minions, mercenaries, and monsters. The Immortal, while giant, does still count as a monster, so that gives a lot more damage. What else? I'm wondering if Ragnaros ban maybe is the time. It doesn't seem like it's something that, or not, I guess this is Team Freedom, so it wouldn't be that, but Tassadar was what they were banning before, but Artanis, again, it's a hard choice.
I think the TAS is a safe. They instead go for the Vala here for Freedom. Superstars now, do they want the Artanis? Do they want the Ragnaros? I'm guessing it's going to be the Artanis, but Freedom has clutched onto that Ragnaros so tightly that I could see them removing it. No, it is going to be Artanis.
It makes perfect sense. Maybe Freedom left Tassadar up, though, because they want to get one of them. If they can't get Artanis, they could still get Tassadar and pair it with Tracer. Yeah,
that could be the case here. We're about to find out, but we will see if they make the rotation into the Ragnaros the same way that they have in the previous games here. The hesitation alone might be an indicator of maybe a change of pace here.
Looking at some of the other things they like to pick up, Sergeant Hammer is one that sometimes teams can get away with on Battlefield of Eternity. I don't know about versus Artanis. That would be fairly scary. But if they could set up in a way maybe to block the Phase Prism, less easy once Graviton Vortex is available. Tychus and Li Ming, so focusing on the race first.
I do like both those heroes on this map, and obviously Tychus is very strong. It kind of deters maybe Superstars going into a very beefy composition, but both in the same rotation seems a little bit off to me. The lack of prioritization onto some of the higher end warriors or supports might be something that I expect in this rotation and the secondary ban phase for Superstars to really punish. So we'll see if that does happen. But Freedom did, the heavy focus put into the race on those Immortals.
Icona has been playing a lot of Rhaegar these series, if they want to take that and ban Malfurion. What would Srey want here? Sometimes Johanna is a nice pick to have on Battlefield of Eternity. Srey in the past has played quite a lot of her, and her disruption on the Immortal points can be very nice.
Malf and ETC putting the prioritization onto both the roles Freedom is yet to be able to obtain. I like the ETC. His passive is really underestimated. The auto attack bonus that it is able to give to everybody around you helps you win the race. He's got knockbacks to push you into the stuns of the Immortals. He's got his own power slide. He has a lot of great things on this map, and then the Malfurion is not surprising. Superstar's composition right now is absolutely terrifying, not only for the map, but just in general. So we'll see if Freedom can make a play here. I do wonder what we're going to see Superstars ban. I don't think I would ban a support. I would focus very heavily on the warrior pool and remove that from them, just because you can get a lot of mid-area kind of supports like Karazin come out. And even Medic has some kind of justification on this map compared to some of the others. So I think Warrior should be the choke. But for Freedom, they've got to figure out which DPS they want to get rid of.
I think Superstars will ban Diablo. Zuggrug's only played ETC or Diablo yet in this series, so it may be an easy point for them to ban. Freedom really does not want to let Superstars snowball this battleground by allowing them to have Sylvanas with their composition. And it makes perfect sense. If you get too far behind versus a Sylvanas on Battlefield of Eternity, it can be impossible to come back because with every Immortal you get, she turns off the structures and then a team can find themselves behind a talent tier every single phase when the Immortal starts.
All right, so the Warrior was removed. You nailed it. It was, in fact, going to be the Diablo, putting Zugrug maybe out of his comfort a bit here. So support's got to be picked up. It doesn't have to be. Again, for those who don't know at home, typically in a draft you save your last pick, even though you can guess the support the person will normally pick up. You want to save it to be very adaptive to whatever your opponent picks up here. So I would guess we're going to move in the route. I would avoid, since Rhaegar has managed to make it through, I would look forward the Rhaegar and then again towards my front line. I'm guessing that would be the Muradin. A little bit of a synergy with a lot of the heroes there, but also just the raw survivability. And you know, he's good at everything. He's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Can't hurt to be able to pick him up there. Instead, it's going to be Rag Joe.
I wondered if they'd get Johanna because she can give blinds to Artanis to buy some time for the team, help out in fights, not let him get the extra damage there. And Ragnaros, once again, Freedom knows what they like.
But you know what Johanna is not very good at?
What's that?
Death balls. She gets one condemn, and unless she ends up taking the 7 cooldown and then getting multiple condemns to be able to peel off, she is a 1 blessed shield, and then her backline is dead as she proceeds to be like, hey guys, pay attention to me. I just don't know if I feel like that's justified enough and if it's going to work enough with the race and just the raw concentration on team fighting, the map itself. Again, the first 3 picks here on the side of Superstars were very well done, and the rest of this can be kind of a little bit of anything. I think I might go for the, I would go for the Thrall for sure in this rotation. The other pick though, I can't think of a backliner I'm missing.
What about Zul'jin and Nazeebo though?
Not what I was thinking. Okay, so I have a lot to say about Zul'jin on Battlefield of Eternity, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
Because when I saw Zul'jin release, I was like, he is going to be a Battlefield of Eternity monster, and it turns out my opinion changed rather quickly. What about here?
Superstars does not agree with you.
Yeah, he's worth.
Last is the support. Who is Collusion going to play? Rhaegar is still up. Would provide quite a lot of healing, which seems like this team is going to need.
Anything but Brightwing is all I'm feeling right now for Freedom. I wouldn't hate if they went into a Karazim. I wouldn't hate if they went into a Morales, which they end up somehow doing. I didn't guess that. But the last thing I wanted there was going to be the Brightwing. So, what do you? Gilly, go ahead, give me your breakdown. What are you feeling on this draft? It got a little weird on the back half.
I'm going to stay away from Zul'jin Nazeebo for now because that's the second Nazeebo we've had.
Yeah, I told you.
You did. You did.
It doesn't mean he's great, just to be honest.
Can we address the profile picture of Ginger Dread Nazeebo too? That thing is monstrous.
It is. And the worst part is it shares half my name. I'm so tilted.
Every time I see it, I think of you.
It's just like a redheaded dreadnought. Just, hey, what's up? It's just, goodness.
I like Morales on this battleground, but I don't think that Johanna can keep all of those picks safe.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I just talked about the vulnerability of Johanna versus a heavy melee-centric composition, but then you go, well, at least you got to support like Morales to keep him up, and you're like, oh gosh, now she's going to die too. It's going to be a struggle.
Zul'jin, Nazeebo, racing down an Immortal. Zul'jin can increase, his attack damage as his health goes down. He also increases his attack speed. Why wouldn't he be a good race hero for the Immortals?
On raw racing, he's fine.
Okay.
But when you put a 1-4 scenario, he can never fill the role of 1-4. Not never, but most of the time he can't, because the situation to where you dangle your health bar low enough to have reasonable enough attack speed puts you in a position to where anyone can walk up to you and you just lose the trade. You do not win a 1v1, minus if you have Taz Dingo. Then if you use Taz Dingo just for a single 1v1, most of the time you're going to lose the team fight in the long run anyways. I'm not saying that he has no place, but when you look at the kit, first thought, you're like, he's going to be insane on Battlefield of Eternity. Suddenly, when you look at in practice, you're sitting at 30% HP, and then Li Ming goes, oh, hey, I saw the health bar dropping. Somebody has to be over here. And there goes a Calamity reset, just in a matter of seconds.
Well, let's head in the game. I'm excited to see this first race, especially with Nazeebo. Game number 4 on Battlefield of Eternity.
All right, here again, one game away from having the opportunity to take this series is in fact going to be Superstars. Faye will be playing the Zul Jin. Srey is going to be on ETC. Hosty is going to be playing the Nazeebo. Oh, we got the graphics there. Icon is going to be on Malfurion. Srey on ETC once more.
Srey should be proud of that head up. That's all I'm saying. It was very fancy. Team Freedom is in the red with Dansky playing Tychus. Insomnia on Ragnaros. Collusion playing Lieutenant Morales. Li Ming played by Nasmus. And Johanna played by Zagrug. Okay, so you don't like Zul'jin as the one person who's sitting on the Immortal while the rest defends, but what about Artanis? What about Nazeebo?
Artanis obviously is unrivaled in the 1-4. Well, that's not totally true, but he definitely does scale and does do a lot better than a majority of the heroes into the game. And in a full 5-on-5 race, he is absolutely... he's totally fine. He does very, very well, specifically Zul'jin, because the damage output is relatively high. Again, it is not nearly as dominant, I guess, as my initial thoughts when I saw the release here of Zul'jin. But maybe, maybe Faye's got to figure out. Maybe I missed out on something.
I'm wondering if Team Freedom realizes that ETC is not down in the bottom lane, trying to figure out where he is at, has to be hiding somewhere. And we see Insomnia playing a little bit further back in the lane because of that. So a great map sense from the team, knowing that ETC is off somewhere. But finally, ETC finds him. Hosty looking to follow up with Zombie Wall. Doesn't quite catch Insomnia, though. And with the movement speed he gains from Blast Wave, Insomnia gets out.
That means that Team Freedom needed to be far more aggressive, and the fact that no shots were drained here by on the Superstars front gate shows a bit of hesitation here on the side of Freedom. We'll see if they manage to figure it out. As Goku just puts a little bit of poke. There's going to be the swap. Dansky can't really go anywhere. There's going to be the condemn. Medic has got the healing beam, making Dansky feel well. And that was a winning trade here for Team Freedom. It
was a great idea, though, in practice, because Srey, just when he arrived, Goku threw out Phase Prism so that Srey could immediately follow up with Power Slide. Again, showing me that this is something that they have practiced, this combination, and it should make all of Team Freedom very much question how they set up and where they're standing.
All right, now another conversation about Zul'jin. If we do see the Taz Dingo opportunity come into play into a Li Ming, it's pretty rough to figure out. It's awesome because she will burst you down, put you down to half health, and you're like, thank you for the free attack speed. But the problem is when you have Taz Dingo, suddenly you're at quarter health, and you haven't seen Li Ming, you have to be like, maybe I should pop this a little bit earlier than I'm used to being able to do. So that raw burst, it's got to be a lot of micro coming out from Faye.
It's up to Nasmas to make sure that she might be able to, or Li Ming can do that to Faye. Malfurion, meanwhile, taken out. That gives Team Freedom a little bit of time to start working on this Immortal.
Shout out to Collusion for that really good grenade there. Didn't make a play, but it's the small things here. Nasmus is relatively He will be able to be healed up as Goku has swapped using that level 1 talent to be able to try and win this race. But for now, both teams just seem to be tickling the Immortals as Freedom does pull ahead a small amount.
Whole teams, both of them have been pretty split up, trying to simultaneously work on Immortals while stopping your opponents from working on Immortals. And if either team sets up incorrectly, has the wrong number of people, that will be volatile.
Yeah, and we see now Goku is just going ham on to that Immortal. He's going to be able to knock in the phase there. A little bit of lack of commitment. Again, Nasmus is sitting there with no mana, and he hasn't backed for some time, so we'll see if he's going to be able to make anything happen here. He's only got about 1 spell rotation, if that, so the minute that we see anybody commit, he needs to make sure he gets maximum value, or I expect this to go over to Superstars.
The teams knew where the Immortals were going to be placed. They're in the safe spots. Generally, both teams go back and just race down to make sure that they're not up against a largely shielded Immortal, even if they don't win it. But Team Freedom has chosen to defend despite those low mana bars, like you mentioned, putting Insomnia in the back. Superstars realize this, they're going in for the kill.
That was a lot of damage going out into Dansky. Insomnia is on that split as the Immortals are definitely going down faster here for Superstars that they have moved in, knowing it's a 5 versus 4. Li Ming throws out her spells, but again, that is all she had. The swap not going to land for Goku, and Superstars picks up the first Immortal of the game, but the experience advantage in the hands of Freedom for now.
What do you think about that decision to not just try to race, to sit there with 4? The minute that Superstars realize that.
What is Li Ming gonna do? She had no mana.
Right.
My biggest qualm is we saw Nasmus hang out for legitimately a minute and a half with no mana the entire time.
I agree with the decision making, and I understand that maybe the bit of the panic there, but the fact that, you know, we had that long of a fight, Nasmus didn't have the influence that you need as a first rotation pick, which is going to be that Li Ming there. So we'll see if they're going to be able to turn it around, but Insomnia, he's just going to take up the fort, get a little damage out there, try and deter any advantage coming out from Superstars.
Freedom would love to get a kill along with taking out the Immortal, but at the very least, they saved their fort, which is nice too. The defense that Ragnaros provides basically just stalling out the damage that gets put on a fort with an objective like that. It'll be fine now, but as they continue to lose more and more of these Immortals, it could be more of a problem.
Yes, and we do see a different build on Nazeebo than we saw yesterday, putting more into the Spider build. The ramping up here, it gets pretty serious. As for the rest of this, though, since we did see a bit more unique picks, the Morales has done, we've seen that in the past, you know, pretty effective a lot of the times on this map. But when it comes to the Nazeebo and Zul'jin, anything stand out to you so far? Like in terms of play that you're like, okay, I get it now?
Spider build, if you're going to be able to throw out spiders, just have more damage that can continually be done. Also, those can really start to hurt. And if you stay healthy, once you get Spider Colony later on, you're basically just constantly throwing those out. Zul'jin, we have a different talent at level 7 than Vicious Assault before. This one is Reckless. Oh no, it is still Vicious Assault. It looked like Recklessness to me. So yeah, still being able to do more damage on 6 basic attacks instead of 3. Everything very standard from their talents.
Insanely risky for Superstars right now. Huge Condemn comes in. Nasmus over the wall, throwing out the combo. Not going to get the reset. Icona, though, very low. No one's going to be able to hit the spell. Zombie Wall from Hosty is going to be able to secure his escape out there. But for a moment there, I thought Freedom was about to get reset on reset. But we do see that Insomnia on that Ragnaros is backed out, work towards that Shaman Camp. Perfect timing here with the Immortal phase. It's going to be a relatively big advantage. This time frame with the Shaman Camp pressuring needs to be taken advantage of for Freedom.
But Insomnia and Nasmus are just now going back. They started their backs as the Immortals were spawning because, again, Nasmus was out of mana, and he did go in the Magic Missile build, which you see a lot more on Battlefield of Eternity, so you can start to throw out more damage to the Immortals, but this has let Superstars get such a healthy advantage on the Immortals right away. Yeah,
but speaking of that Seeker that you're talking about, no, you're very much correct. A lot of it is Team Freedom's doing the right thing 20 seconds too late. All time after time. The only game that was really different here was in game number 3, but, you know, it's that time sensitivity. It could just take one moment where they take a look back and realize that, you know, we need to be a bit more hasteful in this thought process, and things could turn around really quick here. The Shaman Camp still is pressuring up top. The Immortal is just now about to fall down and get phased, and it will here. Superstars having a relatively big advantage as Goku is completely isolated.
This is the kill that Team Freedom needs. That is absolutely the kill that Team Freedom needs. Superstars are pushed back behind. The best they can do at this point, throw out whatever they can to poke down and then try to engage along with some stuns, which is exactly what Sray jumped in to do. Superstars would love to take out Insomnia. Collusion doing everything he can.
The root, the Q, and Collusion with a perfect beam is going to be able to keep him up, and that actually confirms the kill, and somehow Zugrog walks out. No health, no mana. Dansky throws the Tychus nade, and he says good night. Somehow Freedom has turned this all around.
Collusion with the mad skills, Safeguard along with Healing Beam, clear behind the wall just to keep Insomnia alive. Such a great job from Team Freedom. We questioned coming into this fight late, but now they've been able to get an Immortal and even will have heroic abilities to boot.
Tychus just looks so tough when he's got those health bars so low, and he's hitting his Q on top of 3 and he just chucks out the nade. He's just like, yeah, take that. All right, very pretty situation there for Dansky as he now is going to pop his Odin very early. Superstars, keep in mind, still do not have their 10s. We should be seeing Team Freedom initiate as fast as possible as ETC is still soaking top, praying that he's going to be able to pick up that stage dive and join his team in a matter of moments. But that Immortal's health is still very high, and he is putting out a large amount of DPS.
Insomnia has chosen to use Molten Core at this point so that he can siege the keep from the destroyed fort, putting out extra damage and softening up these structures for the Immortal. The Immortal is in melee range now, so it's a little bit easier for Goku as well as the rest of Superstars to clean it up, but not before losing the towers in front of Keep, which is a great win for Team Freedom. They're up a level, finally getting a break in this game.
Brought it up in the draft, and we're going to bring it up again. Now, Freedom, you have the control, never let go. That is what I want to see from this team. As Sray possibly getting caught out, they do know he's up there. The question is he out of range? Yes, he will be able to make it away. So good rotation here coming out for Freedom as they look like they're going to try and pressure towards the fort.
Freedom want to get the mercenary camp, and Sray has seen the members up there, so the rest of Superstars are heading up for the defense. Nasmus is going back.
Nasmus is going to be able to get the back here, and Goku's within swap range here. Let's see if he looks for it. No, a little bit more patience coming out of him. Level advantage still here, and we've seen Superstars definitely drop a bit when it comes to the not only the cleanliness, but more the macro focus game that we saw at game number 1 and 2. It seemed very uncharacteristic of a group like this, especially knowing Sray and Iacona are on the same team, to be able to give up that Shaman Camp, not have it perfectly timed. I know Iacona, for instance, was one of the first competitive players to be very focused on timings within the game itself, and now they are going to be capturing it at debatably, not
early.
the most optimal time here.
What makes the difference for Superstars? I kind of thought watching the qualifiers that it's all whether or not, hold on to that, Goku gets a swap, it's all whether or not they really get a true fight. If they have control, then it's fine, but the minute that they start to get behind, the decisions are like, well, we could do this, I don't know if we want to do this, and they just take longer.
Well, time is not really on their sides as Freedom is still pretty much in control of this game. They'll manage to have 13 talents here advantage before or at the same time as the Immortals are going to be spawning during the first phase there. They are going to be getting their Shaman Camp in well-timed as well. Superstars really does not have much of a response other than a pick here over the next couple seconds, but they are putting out a large amount of DPS there with that zombie wall. As the Immortal spawn in defensive positioning, or excuse me, offensive positioning, this is not a good thing for Freedom. They want to get that defense, and they have to travel a very long way to make it happen. Actually, they're going to forfeit it against a team. Oh man, I've seen this on Tomb of the Spider Queen too.
But if they just force to mid, they know that it's going to be so long until Superstars have 13 that then they're not putting themselves in a bad position, especially with the Lieutenant Morales, that they can have something that's closer to them to try to get into a fight, right?
Okay, so yes, but my only counter argument is that if you have the 13 talents here advantage and you have the Shaman Camp split pushing, hold on a minute, there was a big swap coming in. Insomnia's in a bad spot, but so is Iacona. He gets deleted. He doesn't have Ice Block yet. Odin is used. Raid stage dives in. Insomnia barely trying to survive. Taz Dingo's gonna be popped, and Zugrug now retreats with Collusion, giving the heal beam.
Taz Dingo nearly walked into some damage from Damesky in Odin form. Would have spelled the end of Zul'jin, but moved back just in time so that Faye can heal up. She had a well tap, went back. But Team Freedom did have a better timing for the mercenary camps, which are still pushing onto the top 4. So Superstars need to get something out of this. They still don't have 13 just yet, but they have gotten more kills. Maybe this is the spot.
Goku's shield is just going to be popped. That means he's very low. Tychus Grenade is up. It's not going to be able to confirm the kill. Flash of Light not going to be enough either. Zugrug is not there to be able to confirm the kill. All right, so now we do have a time frame where Team Freedom might be willing to take this risk. 13 tier is just so close here for Superstars. Freedom is going to move in. Suppression Pulse trying to pull people away. Tartanus is not even there yet, and maybe Insomnia knows that. He goes in for an aggressive Q. Leeming hits Seeker. Good cleanse, but oh my! What?
That thing does some damage. Goku jumped back in, seeing if maybe he could swap Nasmus into something, but it's just you and Malfurion.
Yeah, and there was a lot of really good things here. Actually, we're going to take another look at that. So the Blessed Shield coming out, good cleanse coming out from Iacona, but they had a couple more spells in their pocket here. As you see the aggression, there it goes. It's going to land the cleanse, Blessed Shield, 1 Q, 1 reset, and Nasmus is going to be having a heyday there, securing another Immortal for Team Freedom.
It's the power of that fully stacked Empower Sulfuris. Here comes Stray with another stage dive.
That is not the stage that you want to be diving at this point in the time.
No.
The Immortal is being neglected here while it still has shield. Get me in range for him. That is not what you want. Dansky does get swapped though, Gilly.
The Gargantuan jumps right on top of Dansky. First kill that Superstars needs, and they're not done yet. They go on to Zugrug too. He's not getting out of here. 2 kills equals Team Freedom getting all the way back. Li Ming was down during that too, so a great response from Superstars, realizing that if they tried to deal with defending versus all of the members of Team Freedom as well as the Immortal, it would have been a very risky place, especially if 1 kill, a keep, that would have given 16 maybe the game. So Superstars making the exact decision they needed.
Yeah, very well done coming out from Superstars. 16 tier is going to be picked up here soon for Freedom, but Superstars has closed the experience gap significantly. Maybe Goku trying to get a swap, but everybody should be all right for now. They're going to be able to secure this fort too, which again, close that gap even more. As I say that, Molten Core comes out and he's like, not today, nerds. This is going to be my fort for only a short period of time, as Freedom now does have that advantage. But I can't help but point out, Freedom, every time they have a talent tier advantage, never is able to get the fight, or even the few that they could pick up, they weren't actually getting. Also, shout out to that cleanse.
Yeah. Stopping Dansky from the swap.
Yeah, the swap wouldn't have been that impactful, but still, that pre-cleanse.
So 16's here for Team Freedom. Superstars aren't far behind. The fort once again saved by Molten Core. And Team Freedom wants to use this little window they have to try to get an engagement, go for the keep, maybe 2, but stage dive, Twilight Dream, so many abilities from Superstars all at once. It's a disaster for Team Freedom.
Yeah, even with 16 talent tier advantage, but now Zugrug is going to be rooted, sacrificing himself, trying to keep his team up. Very well done. Superstars, again, even being at a disadvantage, is able to turn a fight for the 2nd time in this game over Freedom.
This is,
you know, it's a thing. Superstars is taking really good initiations, but I'm amazed that it's happened twice.
Right.
Especially with 16 talent tier advantage. I even looked after the kills had happened, and finally Superstars managed to pick up their 16. 3 of them didn't even have it selected for the final kill, showing that like it's not like, well, they got 16, they snap picked it, and it was even. It very much was a favorable fight for Freedom. And it just didn't work out.
It's great for Superstars too, because normally this would be a tough spot to try to burn down an Immortal to, because it's in the safer spot for your opponents to defend. But in this case, there was no Johanna, and without that strong frontliner for Freedom, they don't have another warrior. Oof. So there's nothing of trying to defend, and they get half of the health bar for free on Bella.
And the passiveness here on the side of Freedom now, the rotation they made, they all stalled even during the phase duration of this. Rather than risking the defense, I think was maybe going to cost them far more than maybe they understand this late into the game here, as that is going to be a 33-force health here, or shield. Immortal going over to Superstars is going to be pushing in the bottom lane. That's pretty much already dead. Molten Core should be off cooldown already, but
he should use it on the keep, definitely.
This is going to hurt.
Yeah. It's better, though, that he's not using it on the fort to delay, because that thing is very close. As soon as he's done, it could go down, and he could just get swapped into the rest of the team and not be able to defend. So a lot better that they're giving up the fort for free. They're being patient. This is the place where we'll see him use Molten Core eventually. Whether he uses it early on, yes, he wants to use it early on and try to take down the shielding so that it gets into melee range and it's easier for his team to clean it up.
Odin was used as well, trying to get rid of these shields. We'll see if Superstars try to get the initiation, as they still do have the advantage with that Immortal. Insomnia now out of his Molten Core. His last cooldown is going to be used, and instantly the stage dive on Occlusion. Medevac will be used just barely. Will he be able to survive this?
No, he does not. They break the medevac and break down Lieutenant Morales. Iacona using Twilight Dream, but then going into Ice Block instead, so it does have it off a cooldown in a couple of seconds. Nazmas brings down Nazebo, gets the resets, barely stays alive.
Very close fight here for Superstars and Freedom. 1 for 2 for the first fight in the last 3, really, that Freedom has managed to get the upper hand, but the experience tells a different tale, as they are now down an entire level. 20 advantage will be picked up here by Superstars relatively quickly. It will be before the next Immortal phase. So what can Freedom do here? Number one is I think they have to put heavy focus on their defenses. That's something that they haven't done with the Immortal phase. They constantly play offensive, then they get killed, and then they struggle even when they have the upper hand in experience. And the next one is going to be concentrating on that Shaman camp and manipulating superstars. Even if it pulls Stray away on the defensive, that's still a really good resource for them to have.
Checking out some of the talents that we have, I believe that is Psionic Wound. All of the colors are a little close to tell for Artanis. Yeah, it's Psionic Wound. So Artanis has the capabilities of taking down armor for whatever target he wants to hit. Could be a nice win versus Ragnaros, since he is one that whenever he gets stunned or rooted, now that he has Resilient Flame, gets 50 armor. Maybe a way that they can break down Ragnaros if they can catch him in the front line.
That might be the case here. Here comes the Immortal phase. I am surprised that Team Freedom's been able to get as much experience as they had. I think the waves were pushing heavier than I calculated here. So they do have a much better time window. It's still going to be a little bit of a rough one for a period of time, but they do have the opportunity to really kind of catch up, hit that 20 with superstars. And as you can see, they're patiently waiting there. Icon is trying to find them with that Elun's Grace and Moonfire. But the Immortal's now going to be spawning pressure out here for Freedom in the top lane. We'll see how it plays out.
I don't think Superstars were going to ever take that bait, but Freedom are in a better position to start taking out some of Valerian, the blue Immortal. Suppression Pulse was used to blind and buy time. The rest of Superstars are moving on to start putting damage onto Bella. They have 20 now, and here's the place we'll see Superstars very likely try to find a fight.
Yeah, Freedom absolutely has to be on the defensive here. There's no way they can move offensively, and this positioning is not really what they want to see, as they are gonna try and all in it here. Suppression Pulse is gonna be used against Stage Dive. On top of it, we already see the medics under a tough spot and a lot of pressure, but the swap actually missed here.
Insomnia is safe. He's gotten out, kind of split from the rest of the team. Bruisers happen to be getting in the fight. Dansky says, okay, I guess we'll take these out, maybe have them push. Are we doing this? Are we not doing this? Looks like we're not doing this.
The answer is nothing until 20 here for Freedom. They still have the camp pressuring in the top lane. Nazebo has got that 1-4 split, and he's putting out a lot of DPS. They do confirm this cap swap doesn't land there. But Team Freedom either, you know, they've got to make a decision here, and it looks like they made it, as Odin's going to be used.
Odin's used, he's in the back, kind of in the nook. Insomnia having a tough time to get into the fight. Zugrug's in trouble. Unstoppable being used, trying to help him out. Safeguard's been used too. Matic is way far in, not going to fly out of that position. Lieutenant Morales drops down, and this is trouble.
4,000 health available still on the shielding if they're going to be able to poke at it, but all 5 members are defending, as we see the Shaman camp and the Khazra camp has managed to get this pressure out finally for Freedom. They're still not going to be able to pick that 20 up, and the 2-man defense is going to be enough. We see Superstars here picking up another Immortal, very low shields,
right,
and Freedom will be able to pick that pick up that level 20 talent here. The biggest thing here is that the Immortal moves so slowly that there's only going to be, I think, like a 5-second time difference, if anything, where they're going to have a member down. So really, it's pretty close to even. This might be a keep, depending on how Molten Cord is used, but Freedom, if they don't die, it's not game yet.
Heroic checks. Stage Dive will be up in a few. No Twilight Dream for a while, and no Tazdingo for a while. So potentially Superstars are going to have to play a little more passively. Nope, they decide not to. They're down in the bottom lane, trying to maybe force people to respond down here instead. But
No way.
Goku!
No way. Oh my gosh, Goku actually gets caught out there. That is not what they want, as the Immortal's still pressuring towards top. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Superstars has a right idea in the sense that they have an Immortal, so they want to make you make the wrong decision so the keep gets killed. The problem is the shielding on that Immortal is too low to really make that completely, and then losing Goku right out the gates, one of the best core killers by himself. This is a huge misplay now for Superstars, and they're still going for it.
But there's no Ragnaros. There was no Ragnaros to go into Molten Core. He didn't even get to use it, and he doesn't have Sulfurous Smash either. That's Twilight Dream being
60.
used. Dansky has used his Odin, trying to take them all. Tazdingo on the core.
40%, 25, and that is going to be Tazdingo actually going down Stray here for 15. The Immortal